assaults on college campuses are often big news when reported. But what happens after? The suspect is no longer a student. Good evening, everyone. I'm Allison Ross.
And I'm Brittany Pieper. A bill in Congress could make the perpetrator pay long after they enroll at a university. KOMU 8's Abby Breidenbach is here with reaction from the MU community.
At MU and on most college campuses nationwide, a conduct violation as simple as cheating on homework will go on a student's transcript forever. But as the law sees it right now, a sexual conduct violation is only with you until you leave the university. Now Congress is considering changing that.
I know two girls at Mizzou that I know have been raped at Mizzou.
One of my best friends was sexually assaulted.
I don't even want to think about how many I don't know have been raped at Mizzou.
It seems like everybody knows somebody impacted by sexual assault.
The act itself is appalling, but what's more appalling for me is what happens afterwards.
Colleges have the opportunity to expel those who violate sexual conduct rules, but many worry about what happens after the attacker is kicked out.
He could simply transfer to a different campus and basically escape the crime.
No law says schools must note on a transcript if a student is expelled for sexual misconduct, but a bill introduced in Congress aims to make it a requirement. This so other schools, graduate programs, or future employers would at least have notice of the offense.
They need to know that a basis of your character is that you disregarded someone else's consent.
Opposition says this sort of scarlet letter could ruin somebody's life.
People can argue that it's going to ruin their life, but the people who are going to be on that list have ruined lives already.
You gave up your future the moment that you decided that you did not care about someone else's consent.
I spoke with a victim today who asked to remain anonymous. She said after years of counseling, she still feels the pain and the shame of her attack. She hopes something like this could stop sexual violence in its tracks. In the studio, Abby Breidenbach, KOMU 8 News.
The UM system released a report on itself that shows the joint services provided to the 4 campuses saves money. The report says providing services to its 4 schools and healthcare system saves millions of dollars. The system provides things like cooperative academic programs and serves as a unified voice for higher education in Missouri. The joint systems for the schools adds up to savings.
This report specifically had an analysis that showed that it would cost an additional $80 to $90 million annually for the campuses collectively to replicate the services currently provided by the UM system.
Wyman also says the system spends 39% less compared to other schools on things like administration costs. She also says the system will continue to look for more ways to reduce costs.
The number of tourists in Missouri has grown dramatically in recent years. A recent report by the Division of Tourism says Missouri has 41.7 million visitors this year. That compares to a previous record of 40.4 million last year. That's a 34% increase in economic impact. A local tourism official says the number is also growing fast in Columbia. Revenues from tourism brings a lot of benefits for the community.
So all of that revenue goes into local businesses and helps support local jobs. And then sales tax revenue, of course, helps improve everyone's quality of life who lives in Columbia.
The governor's recommended 2017 budget includes an additional $3 million to expand the Division of Tourism marketing efforts to bring in more visitors to Missouri.
Here's what's happening right now. President Obama has ordered U.S. intelligence agencies to deliver to him any evidence that the Russian government intervened in the 2016 election. The order comes after President-elect Donald Trump's insistence that Russia did not interfere with the election. If there was Russian involvement, Obama's concerned the country would go unpunished if he doesn't act. Intelligence officials are concerned if there is involvement, disclosing information could compromise sensitive sources and methods. Some Republicans in Congress say they will support efforts by Democrats to look into the election. White House counterterrorism advisor Lisa Monaco says the results of the report will be shared with lawmakers and others.
He expects to get a report prior to him leaving office, yes.
And release it publicly?
We'll see what comes out of the report, but certainly there will be a report to a range of stakeholders to include Congress.
Vice President Joe Biden is urging Canadian leaders to continue to treat efforts to combat climate change urgently, despite the incoming administration of Donald Trump. Biden sat down with top Canadian officials and Aboriginal leaders who have gathered in Ottawa to talk about climate change and health care. He told the meeting of Canada's provincial premiers that he is confident the U.S. will continue to make progress on a low-carbon future.
Whatever uncertainty exists around the near-term policy choices of the next president, I am absolutely confident the United States will continue making progress in its path to a low-carbon future. And that's because many of the trends that I've mentioned have taken hold and are no longer dependent on government initiatives.
Less than 2 weeks after fires tore through Gatlinburg, the town reopened to visitors. Officials took down barricades early this morning, and as they were taken down, traffic began to flow through the resort town. Most of the tourist area, which draws more than 11 million people each year, was spared from the fire. However, 14 people died, and about 2,500 homes and buildings in the county were destroyed. Prosecutors have charged 2 juveniles with starting the fires.
It's day 3 of the federal case against accused Charleston shooter Dylan Roof. Today included the jury hearing from the accused himself. As his videotaped confession played in court, NBC's Sarah Rosario has the latest.
Today, jurors watched the videotape of accused shooter Dylan Roof's confession taken after his arrest in North Carolina. Roof telling investigators, quote, "I went to that church in Charleston and I did it. I had to do it. Someone had to do it." As part of his confession, Roof admits to researching black-on-white crimes and black churches online, helping him choose Mother Emanuel AME. And he describes himself as a white supremacist, saying, quote, "What I did is still minuscule to what they're doing to white people every day," before giving chilling details of the murders. The gunman's own account of the crimes comes on day 3 of what's already been a gut-wrenching trial. Yesterday, jurors saw never-before-seen security video showing Dylan Roof arriving and leaving the Charleston church, holding the weapon prosecutors say he used in the killings. Graphic photos were also part of the exhibits, including a Snapchat video taken from inside just before the shooting. And survivor Felicia Sanders' painstaking testimony of her efforts to protect her granddaughter as bullets rang out, killing her aunt and son. 22-year-old Dylan Roof is charged with 33 separate counts, including hate crimes. Sarah Rosario, NBC News.
The gunman suspected of fatally shooting 2 police officers in Americus, Georgia, was found dead yesterday. Officers surrounded this home after receiving a tip that he was holed up in here. When they went in, they found 32-year-old Mikhail Limbrook had killed himself to avoid being captured. Police officers Nicholas Smar died at the scene at the shootout, and Georgia Southwestern Public Safety Officer Jody Smith died from her injuries. Samsung is set to release a final update for its recalled Galaxy Note smartphone 7. The next and final update will be released on December 19th and will make the smartphone stop working. The Note 7 was recalled in September and again in October after multiple reports of the device catching on fire. Owners have been urged to return them or exchange them for other Samsung devices. About 93% of them have been returned in the U.S.
It was cold out there again today. Tori says we could be in for a bit of a warm-up at least. Let's check in with her to see what we can expect.
Hey, thanks a lot, Brittany. It was another very chilly one out there for us today. A lot of us only saw temperatures once again reaching those upper 20s. We're still into the upper 20s from Columbia, Jefferson City, and down at the Lake of the Ozarks, but up to our north. Quickly seeing some cooling out there. It's 23 in Macon, Moberly, and Paris. The good news is we're not really going to be dealing with wind chill for at least the next couple of hours. We've got high pressure in place at the surface, keeping our winds actually very, very calm and very variable out there. So as we head into the rest of our evening hours, we're going to see temperatures quickly dropping into those lower 20s, but we're going to be feeling more like single digits just for one more evening as we head into your early Sunday morning. But luckily, like Brittany said, we do have a little bit of a warm-up in store for the rest of the weekend. At least things should be a little bit more seasonal back into those upper 30s and lower 40s. But behind that, much cooler air is on the way. We've also got several rain and some snow chances in the forecast. We'll take a look at the next 8 days coming up in a few minutes.
Is Florida in the clear? What the governor is saying about the Zika virus.
Plus, how your furry friends could help cope with illness. You're taking a live look over Jefferson City. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5 coverage you can count on.